Today, guys, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about inside linebacker play in our base defense. So we're getting our two inside linebackers, and we'll just review these three basic things, and then we'll more importantly talk about what you do when the offensive guard does something. So first and foremost, what is the alignment of our two inside linebackers? Our alignment is going to be head up of the two offensive guards. And if you remember, we talked about our Mike is our strong side inside linebacker, and our Buck is our backside or weak side inside linebacker. But you two have gap responsibilities. And those gaps are the Mike is equal to strong B. And so if we go ahead and drop our nose guard is going to always be a strong A player. We have a defensive end that's always going to be a strong C player. And then our Mike obviously then has the strong B. We have a backside defensive tackle. He's always going to be a weak B player. So our Buck has the weak A gap in the backside. Okay? So those are our gap responsibilities in our basic base defense. Now, what are we looking at? What are our keys and what are our reads? So our inside linebackers are actually reading the offensive guard that they're directly in front of. Okay? So you're 4 yards off the line of scrimmage, but you're simply staring down the offensive guard that's right in front of you. And then basically he's going to tell you what your reaction should be. So we'll go through those four things here right now. So when you're staring down that offensive guard and you read what's called a base block. Now, a base block is when the offensive guard or the OG, the offensive guard comes directly at the inside linebacker. Okay, so what should the inside linebacker do? If the inside linebacker reads a base block, then this inside linebacker should attack half man of the offensive guard and defeat the block on the gap side. So in this scenario up here, we're going to go ahead and look at a base block, and we're just going to see that offensive guard coming directly at the Mike and the Buck. So if the offensive guard is going right at the Mike is going to defeat this block on this half of the offensive guard directly in the strong B gap. Same thing goes on the weak side here. This offensive guard is going to base block or come right at the Buck. He's going to defeat this half of the offensive guard, beat him to the inside to get in his weak A gap. So that would be what your reaction should be when you're defeating a base block. Okay, and again, that's just when the guard's coming directly at the inside linebacker. The next block that we'll read is called a down block, and this is when the offensive guard double teams the defensive lineman. So in this scenario of a down block, we'll go ahead and drop our nose guard, we'll drop our DT, we'll drop our defensive end. But if this Mike is reading the guard and this guard down blocks and they double the nose, our reaction at inside linebacker, we want to now have our eyes go through to the running back. And we're going to look to fill strong B, or we're going to look to flow. So we're going to go ahead and get our eyes through the strong B gap and not quite fill it right away. Because what if now run play happens on the perimeter? Okay, this is where we can get our eyes through. And if we're fast enough, we can run through that gap and blow it up. But again, the other high school's best athlete's probably the tailback. And so he's going to get up to the perimeter and get out there pretty darn fast. So if we can get our eyes through and you see running back past strong B, then you can flow over the top and get to the other side of this defensive end. Okay, so we don't automatically fill when we read a down block. The good ones can wait just a little bit and potentially flow. The third thing we're going to see is also pulls. So this is when the offensive guard pulls to kick out or do other things. So again, if our eyes are looking at this offensive guard, and we're going to go ahead and draw the rest of our defense, our Sam, our end, our nose, our tackle, and Willie. So if this guard pulls to block out the Sam linebacker, okay, there's no need for us to fill that because obviously the play is happening outside here, okay, or the alley. We discussed this in safety and outside linebacker play. We didn't really talk about what you do, but this is what you do. And so we have it written down here to simply shuffle, shuffle, fill. And so what we do is we shuffle 2 times laterally, and then we fill right away downhill at a 45-degree angle. So if this Buck is reading guard, maybe the backside guard, and he pulls the same direction, we're going to now shuffle, shuffle, and then fill. So now he has cutback or alley cutback. So this is a very basic Mount Baker play where both guards are pulling and both inside linebackers are leaving and getting a little bit of help there in the alley, helping out our strong safety. And the fourth and final thing is pass protection. So if your offensive guard obviously just settles up with a big old pass protection, a big old kick, and sit and slide, then what we want to do is not necessarily drop right away. Okay, a lot of times, high schools have a hard time throwing the ball. It's not Saturdays in college or NFL on Sundays.